Because it's the new year, I'm sure you've probably already started with thinking about New Year's resolutions, what you want to do this year, what you want to achieve. Maybe you have some goals, personal or career-wise. I don't really know what you've personally planned, but one thing I wanted to share is this idea of just being what you want to become. It's something that held me back in my career for a while, I want to say, when I was first getting started off, and then also just working my way through project after project, client after client, trying to climb the ladder and make it and be successful and all the things. And all the while thinking in the back of my head, oh, one day I want to do this, or one day I want to do that, or wouldn't it be great if I got hired to do this type of thing? And yet, at the same time, all the work that I was doing was not that. It was something else. And it's maybe obvious, maybe not, I don't know, but at least with the new year, I'd like to encourage you, if there's something you want to be doing, just do that thing because it's far less likely. So for example, let's say you want to do food content. I don't know, food photography, food video, food, you love food, recipes or baking or whatever it is. But if your current client list and your current work portfolio is all mechanic shop, car, automotive type stuff, it's gonna be very hard to bridge that gap. And unfortunately, the secret behind the scenes is that, it doesn't really matter the type of content you're doing. Most of us have the technical ability to do a little bit of everything. So we can do weddings, we can do commercial stuff, we can do documentary, we can do narrative, we can do a music video, we can do food, we can do automotive, lifestyle, whatever. Vacation, travel content. The camera doesn't really change all that much, the lenses and stuff. There's some like small variation, but I think all of us are willing to adapt and be nimble and dynamic and adjust to the expectation of the client. Well, the unfortunate part is if you're not working in the industry that you want to be in the category or the style, it's very hard to magically get one of those clients to show up, to make it appear, to make it happen. It's not like you're going to do weddings every weekend for years and then all of a sudden get hired to make a movie. It's just probably not going to happen. Although for whatever reason we think, oh, we're working, we got to pay the bills. If we just work really hard, eventually we'll end up where we want to be. But oftentimes those paths are very different and it's hard to cross over unless you intentionally make a move to do the other thing. I think the people who end up making movies are usually the people who start by making movies. Short films, low budget type stuff, and eventually you kind of graduate on that path and you make a bigger movie if you're good enough. And yes, it's all about working hard, being reliable, being dependable, showing up on time, not charging absurd rates, working it, climbing the ladder. And if you want to do weddings, you're only going to do that if you do weddings. You're not going to do that by doing, corporate, probably explainer type video type content. If you're doing corporate gigs, like you're not going to magically get hired to shoot a wedding. Or maybe you could by a friend or family member, but they're probably, looking for a lower rate. It's not like a professional deal. It's just kind of, hey, you do video, can you film my wedding? So you kind of have to do the thing that you want to be doing, but so often we're limited by the size, the scale, the scope of those projects. Well, I'd love to direct a Marvel movie, or I'd love to direct, Star Wars or Harry Potter, or I'd love to make a big budget movie. I've got these great ideas. So instead, I'm going to work like these corporate gigs and then like, what's the path there? And I don't know why I was so dumb in hindsight, where I was just waiting for that client to hire me to do the thing that I really wanted to do. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be so great to do something that's like on Netflix, or do something like some more like high quality documentary. Meanwhile, like that's my goal, that's my dream. There's no client that's going to come to me with my dreams, in their mind. They have their own goals, their own expectations, their own priorities that are totally separate from what I want to do. So anytime there's that friction of like, oh, I really want to be doing this thing, but I keep getting hired to do that thing, find a way to carve out that space of what you want to do for yourself. Maybe it is just working for yourself. Maybe it is doing something pro bono or for free, or to help out another crew. Or I don't know the right answer for you because it's always different in every market, in every industry. But you're not going to get to your goal of what you want to do if you're not on the baby steps of that path. You kind of have to plant the seed first to get the tree later on in life, after 10 or 20 years. And if you're not planting the right seeds, You might end up with tomatoes, which are great. Everyone, people I don't like tomatoes, but people like tomatoes or cucumber or zucchini or peppers or whatever. You're going to get what you plant. And if you're planting different seeds, don't be surprised when if you're planting eggplant seeds, you're going to get eggplant. If you want cantaloupe, go plant cantaloupe seeds. And that's a maybe silly, lighthearted analogy, but it is so true. There's very few clients who are going to show up and give you your dream gig. It's just probably not going to happen. You kind of have to start your dream, be the thing you want to become first, and then over the course of events, it kind of starts to happen. So if you want to be a director, just be a director. Don't be an editor expecting to one day be a director. And if you want to be an editor, be an editor. Don't be a producer and expect that you're going to become an editor. That can happen. People do mix around and shuffle around, but it's usually through planting those seeds, trying something out, showing initiative, doing the thing before they're the thing. And I think there's a lot of factors at play. There's probably imposter syndrome to some degree, but it's also just, feeling like, well, if I work hard, good things will happen to me. And that's sort of true, but also you have to work in the right way. You have to plant those right seeds. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. It's going to take too long, or you're relying too much on luck and chance and random coincidence. I remember growing up, there was always these stories of these, someone's, a director saw a person at a bar or a restaurant and they hired them to be, an actor in their movie or whatever. As if, just by being in the world, like going to wait tables or just existing out in public, someone could see you and scoop you up and want to hire you. Maybe that has happened, but I want to say that's more of myth and legend than reality. Maybe there was a time where that was true. I don't know anyone personally that's their story, so I'm just going to take it with a giant grain of salt and say, no, if you want to be hired to be an actor, you go to casting, you practice, you be an actor, whether it's stage plays or short films or whatever. If you want to be an actor, you got to start acting. It's not going to magically happen to you just by walking around and you're at Chick-fil-A in line and someone says, you're going to be a star. I'm going to take you to Hollywood and going to go make you famous. It's very unlikely, but it is this wish in the back of our minds, I think, that some of us, maybe not all of us, but some of us just think, wouldn't it be nice if I could, just that perfect, angel investor, that perfect, person that just wants to spend a bunch of money letting me do what I want to do. It's just not, it's not something you can count on. It's not reliable. It's not a business plan or strategy that has any merit. It could happen, but a lot of things could happen. You could win the lottery. It doesn't mean it's solid financial advice to just be playing Powerball every week. If you want to be something specific, if you have a goal in mind, start now doing that thing. Be that thing. If you want to film documentaries, start filming documentaries. Don't wait for Netflix. Don't wait for HBO. Don't wait for someone to magically come along and scoop you up and say, we're going to do everything. You're going to be a documentary filmmaker now. What have you been doing? Maybe live streaming, maybe, I don't know, whatever you do. Maybe make YouTube tutorial videos. Well, it's very unlikely that you're going to be a documentary filmmaker if you're just making YouTube tutorial videos. So start yourself on the path that you want to be on, because you always have to start small. A seed is very small. It's tiny. It's almost insignificant. You can get a pack of seeds for a couple bucks, but what they can grow into, the work that it takes to grow tomatoes or zucchini or cucumbers or cantaloupe or eggplant, that it's time and it's effort and it's energy. It's always time. It takes a while for things to grow from a seed to harvest. And it also takes work. You got to water it. You got to feed it. You got to make sure it doesn't get infested with bugs. You got to keep it healthy. You got to prune it back sometimes. There's a lot of steps that go into taking something from a seed to the final harvest, to the final fruit. And the same is true for your career. If you start small, start with something insignificant. You don't have to mortgage your house to do your passion project. You don't have to waste, years of your life on one thing. It's just starting the ball moving in that direction. Start small. Start with whatever it is. Because I don't know. I don't know what it is that you're working on or what you want to be one day. I have no idea. I can't tell. But I can tell you for me, from my perspective, there's a lot of things I wanted to do that I didn't think to start when I had the idea. I thought one day that'd be nice. Hopefully someone comes along and hires me to do this type of thing. And it was much later in my career that I realized, oh shoot, I could just go do that myself. Because no one's going to show up. No one's going to come knock on my door saying, here you go. Here's the golden ticket. I'm Willy Wonka. Here you go. Come on with me, Charlie. Come to my factory. These are fictional stories, movies, books. It's fantasy that like you could just be that lucky. There's probably no golden ticket. Maybe there is, but I mean, think of all the kids who didn't get the golden ticket, right? In Willy Wonka. I think there was 5 of them that got the golden ticket. There's a lot of other kids that had no shot, no chance of ever owning the chocolate factory, but they could go start making chocolate. You can make chocolate at home. That could turn into a business. You could create your own factory. To luck into it as if it's the lottery is not smart strategy, but maybe it's what a lot of us think by default, because you don't really know where to start, or it feels like so much work, or you want the goal, but you don't want the work that goes into that goal, and so you just don't ever start. But I'm telling you, for the new year, if there's something that you want, a goal in your life to be something, be the thing you want to become. And chances are, if you just keep doing that, given enough time, the number one key to success is persistence. Just keep doing it. And chances are it will work out. It might not work out exactly how you expect, but that's probably fine, because goals and priorities, they kind of shift over time. It's very rare that you would have something as your goal, 20 years ago, and it's the same goal today. And the same is true for the future. What you're thinking you want to do now might not be what you're thinking 5 or 10 years down the road, but that's okay, because it at least puts you on the path that you're headed in the right direction. So you're not just waiting, hoping, chance that someone comes by and gives you the golden ticket. If there's something you want to do in life, start doing it now and don't stop.